disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Doing nothing but telling the truth. I heard her say it, and I repeated it. I'm grown, and I do what I want. You know who I am. I'm Jackie Christie. That ain't gonna change.
What if the daughter you raised for 20 years was never yours, and the man who knew the truth all along was your teammate? That's exactly what Doug Christie just found out. A recent DNA test didn't just flip his world, it lit it on fire. Let's rewind to the moment this story exploded. Doug Christie had been feeling uneasy for a while, but instead of making noise, Doug moved in silence. He didn't confront Jackie. He didn't ask Chantel. He ordered a DNA test through a third-party lab. The results, 0% match. No biological link to Chantel, nothing. That should have been the end, but Doug needed more. He took it further, sending in a second DNA test, not just of himself, but also a sample quietly linked to Chris Webber. That second report came back 99.998% match. Chantel wasn't Doug. She was Chris Webber's daughter. That moment wasn't just painful, it was surgical. Doug didn't break down in tears. He didn't scream or fall apart. Instead, he went into strategy mode. The decades of being the loyal father, the public husband, the backbone of a family built on TV, cracked with one sheet of paper. Doug didn't say a word publicly, but behind the scenes, a 20-year silence ended, a teammate's lies surfaced, and the family brand Jackie had built now sitting on a fault line. Doug didn't post. He didn't rant. He filed a lawsuit. It reads like the script of a Netflix betrayal series. The suit named both Jackie Christie and Chris Webber. Charges filed, paternity fraud for knowingly misleading him into believing Chantel was his biological child. Emotional distress from 2 decades of deceit and the fallout that followed. Civil identity manipulation for allowing his name to be used legally and publicly as the financial deception for extracting funds, time, and effort under false pretenses. The damages, $4,600,000, 0 cents, and climbing. Doug's legal team itemized the numbers with precision. Over $300,000, 0 cents in private school tuition, medical costs, and lifestyle expenses. $120,000, 0 cents in emotional therapy and counseling. Post damages tied to brand manipulation. Because Jackie's fame, including her VH1 appearances and business ventures, were all built on the perfect family image that Doug now claims was a full-blown scam. Retroactive child support payments that Doug is now demanding Chris Webber cover. And here's where it gets even more real. Doug's suit demands Chris Webber be legally added to Chantel's birth certificate.
One of these lunatic, jughead, simple bitches had the audacity to say what?
That you were caught prostituting some back in 1987 or something back in the day.
Ask me, and I'll tell you no. I done a lot, okay? But if prostitution ain't one.
Just when you thought Jackie hit rock bottom, she tried to dig her way deeper. According to court records, Jackie allegedly attempted to bribe Chantel to keep the truth buried. A handwritten note and $15,000, 0 cents in cash, left in a manila envelope delivered straight to Chantel's door. But Jackie underestimated her daughter. Instead of taking the money, Chantel turned it all over to Doug's legal team. The note contained a plea for silence, asking Chantel to protect the family and not destroy what we've built. Doug's lawyers moved fast. A cease and desist was issued to Jackie. The bribe was documented, sealed, and sent to the court. Jackie was officially placed under investigation for witness tampering. In just one envelope, Jackie went from being deceptive to criminally reckless. Then came the testimonies, and if you thought it couldn't get worse, just wait. The depositions didn't just open wounds, they ripped them wide open. Doug Christie's statement wasn't loud, but it hit hard. Sitting calmly across from the lawyers, he said just 7 words that shifted the entire room. I was shielding a lie, not a woman. That line cut through the courtroom. It made clear this wasn't about a bitter ex, it was about years of emotional manipulation, carefully hidden under the image of a loyal NBA husband and father. Doug admitted he had suspicions in the past. He noticed the timelines, the shifting energy between Jackie and Chris, but he stayed because he believed in the family he thought he had. Jackie under oath was a different story. Her deposition started with confidence, but cracked fast. Pressed by attorneys, Jackie admitted she always had a feeling that Doug might not be Chantel's biological father. But instead of telling the truth, she said she was overwhelmed by emotions and made a decision in the moment to list Doug on the birth certificate. That moment lasted 2 decades. The room got tense when Jackie was asked about the $15,000 0 cents bribe. She claimed it was just help, not a bribe, but the handwritten note said otherwise. The language in the note, which referenced keeping this quiet, made her explanation fall apart. Her legal team looked blindsided. Then came Chris Webber. Up to this point, Chris had stayed silent. But now, cornered in deposition, he confessed he knew the possibility of being Chantel's father from the start. He admitted he never got a DNA test because it was easier to let things be. Under oath, Chris said, "I thought I was doing the right thing by stepping aside. I regret not stepping up sooner." 3 testimonies. 3 completely different truths. In one room, a father's heartbreak, a mother's betrayal, and a teammate's lifelong silence all collided. And with every word, the receipts kept piling up. Texts, emails, timelines, and financial records.
You're right, but you better keep your ass in that seat tramp. That's what you better do. You're right, Dumbo ears. Yeah, I got a lot of husbands about these ears. Get a husband. That 48-year-old been working. You right.
Retire.
Outside the courtroom, Jackie's carefully built world was crumbling. She had branded herself for years as the outspoken wife, the savvy businesswoman, the reality TV star who kept it real. But now, brand deals pulled, a major skincare line she partnered with quietly dropped her, a boutique fashion sponsor scrubbed her from all campaigns, podcast canceled, her relationship podcast, once a staple in her brand image, was officially suspended, her co-host released a statement citing ethical misalignment, real estate firm cuts ties, Jackie's side business as a real estate agent gone. The firm she was affiliated with issued a brief press release stating her license is under internal review due to ongoing legal matters. VH1 syndication paused, even reruns of Basketball Wives featuring Jackie were pulled from rotation. Insiders point to morality clause violations buried in her old contracts. Jackie didn't just lose control of her narrative, she lost the platforms that helped her build it. Her reputation didn't just take a hit, it collapsed under the weight of the truth. And in the middle of the fire, one woman chose to rise from it. Chantel quietly filed legal paperwork to change her last name. The petition, obtained through court records, cited emotional harm and personal identity reconstruction. She made no grand announcement, no social media posts, but her intent was clear. She wanted to be free of the name that carried 20 years of confusion, pain, and betrayal. A leaked interview gave more context. In a private discussion with a family therapist, Chantel said, "I don't hate either of them. I just need to figure out who I am without their lies." The emotional toll had been heavy, from being used as a brand prop to unknowingly becoming the center of a legal war. But now, she's reclaiming her story. She's no longer standing in the shadow of a fake family. She's not being asked to protect anyone's image. She's stepping into her own identity, raised in a lie, but finally walking in her truth.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It makes me sick.
She said a lot of things that actually hurt my feelings as a mom.
Once the paternity results were verified and the lawsuit made public, Doug's legal team didn't waste time. They held a press conference outlining their strategy, not just to win his $4,600,000 0 cents suit, but to go further. His lead attorney revealed they would petition the court to formally recognize paternity fraud as a standalone civil offense. That move changes the game. Right now, most states only handle paternity fraud on a case-by-case basis, usually through family court and usually with zero real consequences for the person who lies. If Doug wins and the court rules in his favor on the grounds of identity manipulation and long-term financial deception, this case could set legal precedent. That means future fathers who discover they've been misled could finally have a clear path to sue, not just for reimbursement, but for emotional damages. Almost overnight, advocacy groups started rallying behind Doug. Men's rights organizations, family law reform advocates, and even a few high-profile trial attorneys began issuing statements. They called Doug's move historic and necessary. Within 48 hours of the deposition leaks, justice for Doug started trending. It wasn't just angry fans, it was parents, legal experts, and even former pro athletes speaking out. Stories began surfacing from other men who'd faced similar betrayals, paying child support for kids later proven not to be theirs, watching from the sidelines while courts protected the lie. Doug's case gave those stories something they'd never had before: legal traction. And it wasn't just about money. Doug's filing specifically argued that his personal identity had been misused for public gain, a unique angle that blends civil law, family law, and even defamation. His team says they're pushing to reframe these cases as civil identity theft, with real damages and accountability. In short, this isn't just payback, it's a reckoning. And if the court rules in Doug's favor, family court law as we know it could change forever. So what's next for Jackie, Chris, and the empire they built on lies? It's not just civil suits now. Doug's legal team has flagged several inconsistencies in Jackie's documentation, including the original birth certificate. If it's proven that Jackie knowingly falsified legal records, that moves things from civil to criminal. Forgery, perjury, and obstruction of justice are all being considered. And if charges stick, Jackie could be facing more than just public shame. Behind the scenes, there are already talks of a televised trial. Streaming platforms and legal networks are circling. With all the public interest and layers of betrayal, this case is shaping up to be more than just headlines. It's becoming a legal milestone. Meanwhile, Chris Webber's team is in scramble mode. One insider claims his reps are trying to negotiate a private settlement to avoid further court drama, but with public interest exploding, that door may already be closed. Doug? He's been calm through it all. No rants, no interviews, just a single statement to the press. This isn't about revenge. This is about the truth I was never given. And now the world is watching. Because the truth didn't just come out, it filed for damages. What do y'all think about this whole mess? Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe this channel for more.